Next up, I'd like to introduce Christina Weaver as the author of What You Lose on the Roundabout, the true story about her experience with Parkinson's disease, the pills she was prescribed to treat it, and the pandemonium that resulted in her life. Christina is also our book reviewer for Philadelphia Story, so it's my pleasure to introduce Christina. Thank you.
It's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. Yes, this is a memoir about my having Parkinson's. It's predominantly narrative, of course, but there are a few poems, and I thought maybe the poems might give you the feelings that I was going through my adventure. Before starting, I'd like to point out my husband right here, which I end up, we've been married for 42 years. He is my rock. He was a psychiatric social worker at St. Elizabeth's Hospital in Washington, D.C., and that gives you a little bit of information about how difficult it must have been for him to see me go crazy, which I did. And he saved my life. So basically what happened is I'm a normal person, so to speak, married, family, on the job, everything's going great, and at 48 years old I'm diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Give me lots of medication because I want to keep working as long as I can. I love my job. But after 5 years, cognitively I'm really not thinking terribly well, not able to bounce all those balls at the same time. And so I go into early retirement, and I move to Bethany Beach. And of course I'm starting to think, and what can I do, and who am I now, and all this kind of thing. And I start to write about what it is to have Parkinson's disease. And so this is Shells of Themselves, a parody of me and thee. Shed shells exist, once filled with life and purpose, now immobile, hollow, flat, eerie, jostled at the whim of waves, pull of the tide, until inevitably they drift into the abyss. Just shells of themselves, the dopamine dead who haunt the dopamine down, progressively helpless, tremors, rigidity, disequilibrium, dementia, pushed in wheelchairs by spouses, weary trying to look cheery, for better, for worse, forever. Shells tumble and spin with the ebb and flow of lunar rhyme and reason, the lows and crescendos of Vivaldi's seasons. They hear my unspoken angst, commune with Neptune, and return bearing whispers of wisdom I strain to hear, soft solace for the dark night of the hardened soul. Dear doctors, don't feel bad, I'm sad. Yes, I know I have years of decline to enjoy before I too am shed from my shell. And true, I'd prefer to die, purely accidentally, before my well-being becomes another's well-keeping, wouldn't you? So my soul is sad, damn it, at times depressed. Fear not, my spirit breathes passion, fiery like a dragon, to think, to love, to laugh, to write, and cough from my craw, this crab of self-righteous self-pity, unlike a shed shell. Well, I go on writing my poems for a bit, and I start to write not just a couple of poems here and there, but hundreds of poems. And I start to take photographs. I've never taken photographs before in my life. I take thousands of photographs. I put together a little book. All of a sudden, I've got a book of poems and photographs. This isn't quite so bad, having Parkinson's disease after all. I'm starting to feel better. And so one day, I'm sitting outside a bookshop in Bethany Beach. I don't know if any of you've been down there, but there's a little bookshop right by the boardwalk. And it's most embarrassing. I'm selling my book, or at least I'm trying to, and everybody's walking past looking everywhere else but at me and my books, until this young guy comes along and he says, "You're doing just what I want to do." And all of a sudden I have a kindred soul right there. And so I said, "Come with me to my writing group." And we became friendly. And then I found out he had a horrible drug addiction problem, and they didn't like it when he tried to sell marijuana on our boardwalk in Bethany Beach. So from getting to know him, and then I started to get to know musicians in the area and other poets and writers, and I found myself out most every night, I think you would agree, in bars no less, doing open mic nights. And so on one occasion, I remember turning a cap backwards and kind of doing a little hip hop. So, who is she to write of recovery and use a beat as if it were neat? So who is she? So she is me and me is she, so you understand how I write of war and the poor and doing dope and folks without hope and hating and dying and God and the godless and corporate hypocrisy. I'm moving down. My brain is my being, my mind my control. I never use dope, never cross my mind. I like my mind the way it is. Clear and perceptive, alert and objective. I like my mind the way it is. Well, it was very true. I didn't take any illegal substances. But there is a reason that they call dope dope. And the drug for Parkinson's disease is dopamine. And I'm enjoying my dope, but I'm only getting prescribed medications because I've got Parkinson's, poor me. And as well as continuing to write and hardly sleep at all, I'm now spending thousands of dollars on eBay. That's a wonderful thing to do. Ike doesn't know till huge boxes arrive at our door. And then my poetry starts to get a little odd, although I thought it was great. This is called Paranoia of Solitude. An empty space, stark walls, one chair, no sound, a mirror to look at one's own face and be seen by them. Noise of silence, voices throttling my scream. That bug creeping up the wall is my friend, or is it my enemy? A full room, chattering ants competing with cacophony, a drill to bore one's own eye, deafening my invisibility. Nothingness, routine, almost safe. The key turns, a cocoon cringes in the corner, my mind, my home. Noise or naked, hidden or exposed. There is a fly crawling on my wall, and spiders eat ants caught in the web of my space. Wasn't too much after that I was locked away for the first time. It's a horrible experience hearing that key turn in the lock. And they changed my medications a little bit, a little less of one, a little more of the other. I went home. And on the day before Father's Day, I was really tired. All the family was visiting. I was just so busy. And so I couldn't drive the distance from Rehoboth to Bethany Beach, a full 9 miles. I was so tired, didn't think about getting coffee or a Red Bull or a walk on the beach. No, I got a tattoo. It does wake you up, I can tell you. I can also tell you later that evening, I almost succeeded in killing myself and found myself back locked again. When fortunately, one young doctor stood against everybody else and said, I want her in my office, in my clinic, not locked up for one full day. And he took me off all of my medications and he filmed me for the whole day. And by the end of the day, we both knew that a terrible mistake had happened. And I neither had Parkinson's, nor was I crazy. I was just toxic from all the medications that had been given me. So the last of my poems is about my tattoo. It's actually the last poem I've written because I'm back to kind of being logical and things like that. I don't write creative stuff anymore. And although everybody in my family is just delighted I'm back to normal, I have to say there's parts of being a little crazy that I miss. They glance, beware, and look away before they stare, and gingerly stroke my wrist with fingertip outstretched as though it might rub off on them. It's real, I exclaim. How neat, so cool. Did it hurt? How brave to break the rule, or it's vile to defile the skin that God has given you. But whatever their opinion, each asks, as was my intention, what does it mean? Think clone, think cure, I read and explain. It's a statement. Stem cells cloned make healthy cells to cure Parkinson's, paralysis, multiple sclerosis. But the research is banned, unfunded, wrongly discredited. How can that be, most ask? As ignorant in their bliss as the one, morally remiss, who uses the unborn to blaspheme the living disabled, preventing scientific proof becoming therapeutic truth. A tattoo, etched out of the blue, a permanent needling of judgment askew, mine and theirs, they who misprescribed, doping me out of my mind, me ever intent on making a difference in a world indifferent. Thank you very much.